And we're back for another exciting episode of Truckers Delights, Section 31. I am here with my man, Jason. Jason, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, you introduced me already. My name is Jason M. Thanks for having me back on the show for If Memory Serves, right? If memory serves, it's if memory serves. It's what
Quite correct.
That's really a cheap joke. That's horrible. But yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
All right, so let's see if you remember this. This is a recap of If Memory Serves, Season 2, Episode 8 of Star Trek Discovery. The episode opens with a montage of the original show's pilot, The Cage, ending on a close-up of Pike then and Pike now. He shares his desire to have Burnham find Spock before Section 31 out of misgivings for the organization. Discovery is ordered by Georgiou to scan the area and not seek Burnham or Spock. Burnham and Spock arrive into the Talos star system. The subplot is around Ash Tyler and Dr. Culber. Culber is attempting to make sense out of his death and resurrection and is pushing Stamets away in the process. It ends in Culber and Tyler fighting in the mess hall. We learn here that Culber has some fight to him. On Talos, Burnham realizes the Talosians have superior minds and can project images and thoughts. They offer to help Spock remember in exchange for her memories, which would explain how and why Spock and Burnham have distance between them. They learn the Red Angel has been around Spock since his early childhood. Tyler confronts Pike about attempting to find Burnham. He reminds him that the entire organization of Section 31 is watching them. He wants Pike to trust Michael to find a way. It reveals the fact that Tyler trusts Burnham more than Section 31. Because of his history and background, it is the only place for him. Vina visits Pike and informs him that Spock and Burnham are on Talos 4. She clears Spock and notifies Pike that Section 31 tried to take his knowledge using invasive technologies. Burnham sees Spock's exit from Section 31's facility and learns he killed no one. Attempting to dodge Section 31, Discovery sets a course for a star base that is only 2 light years away from Talos 4. The Talosians learn that Burnham tries to save Spock from the Vulcan Purists, but to do so, she had to hurt him. With Discovery close, Section 31 is right behind them. Discovery and the Section 31 ship both have locks on Spock and Burnham. Vina convinces Pike to drop the lock so that Section 31 ship could beam them onto their ship, otherwise they'd both die. Feeling as he's won, Leland immediately leaves the section. Discovery notices a shuttlecraft coming from the surface. Leland realizes Spock and Burnham were only projections. Discovery is on the run. All right, so that's it. We've got a lot to get into. Before we get started, though, we have our intro. We're going to show our intro, and then we're going to get started.
Intro.
What's up, Trekkies? It's your boy Wil Wofford here with Trekkers Delight, a Star Trek-inspired podcast. Before we get started, we're going to give away $100, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel where we will announce the lucky winner every single week. Now, welcome to Trekker's Delight.
Jason, I wanted to give you some time just to expound on your thoughts about that particular episode in general.
First of all, I really liked how they started the episode with the flashback of the original pilot of the TOS show. That was kind of like a surprise, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's kind of cool." At first, I was actually kind of confused about what was going on, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, this is kind of cool how they did that." I really appreciate them going back to that and having it being important in the Discovery show, and how it connected to Pike, and how they brought like Burnham and Spock into it. I like the show overall. I thought it was a good episode.
All right, cool. I agree. I concur. Like, I know a lot of people don't like to go back and rehash what Star Trek has already done. That they always want like new content. But for me, I thought it was important for them to kind of set the stage because they were talking about something that was sometimes, depending on who you are, sometimes it's a pivotal episode, The Cage, and sometimes it's an often missed episode. And so by kind of reminding us what happened in that particular episode, it kind of set the stage for everything that we saw. In what is it? If memory serves. Keep forgetting if memory serves.
You know what? I forgot. I don't have my microphone attached. So
I hear you fine.
Talk for 30 seconds and I'll go get it.
Okay. Yeah. That's
all
okay.
Right. So Jermaine's gonna talk.
All right. So we did the recap of that particular show. And I thought for me, what was important about Section 31, as we consider Section 31, was they did a really good job of filling in some of the bones of what Section 31 is. And I don't want to get into it while Jason is away too much. But a lot of the bones in terms of like the infrastructure of what Section 31 is was explored. And also some of the capabilities of Section 31 was also explored. And so I thought that was really good. I also thought the subplot for this particular episode served as a good a backdrop for what was happening to the character, specifically Culber, right? Because all up until this time, Culber's character was kind of I'm not going to say subpar, but less important to the overall development of the show at that particular time. But to have merged them in that particular to have merged the development of his character in with the plot, especially because Ash Tyler was becoming more important. To kind of pit him and Ash Tyler together, I thought was an excellent idea. And then to make his character fuller and more round, he actually engaged in a fight with Ash Tyler. Now Volk and Tyler, that's a Starfleet trained security officer and also a Klingon merged together, and he's fighting Culber. Like that shouldn't have been so close, but I guess it showed the rage that Culber had, and that was really good to see, in my opinion. I don't know what your thoughts are. I know you heard the tail end of that.
I heard the whole thing.
Okay.
So first of all, I think I've expressed before in other videos how I don't like. First of all, I don't like when this is several episodes, different seasons. I don't like when the captain has somebody that's so conflictive against him. Like I don't like Ash Tyler's character against Captain Pike, but I really like how Captain Pike handles Tyler. Like he's kind of stern and he's not an asshole about it, but he keeps letting them know where his place is. And I really appreciate that with Captain Pike. I don't think anybody dislikes Pike in this show. People have their favorites and people they don't like. I don't think anybody actually dislikes Pike.
I agree.
Do you dislike Pike?
No, I don't dislike Pike.
And I don't think anybody dislikes Pike. I mean, he's a handsome man, and he's good at his job. I say handsome man as a straight man. He's a handsome man. I don't know if I had to say that, but whatever. But Tyler kind of rocks me the wrong way. But I think it was good to have that tension between Colbert and Tyler because of I want to say the conflict, but the conflict being he killed him. So
right. It needed to be addressed. It needed to be addressed.
Conflict is a strong enough word for he killed him. You know what I mean? It needs to be addressed. Yes. Because I would be like, why is this dude walking around the ship? Bring me up to speed on why this guy's walking around the ship.
And to be quite honest with you, I'll be honest with you. Like one of the things that I was thinking about the very first time that I saw it was I didn't expect it from him. Like what I would have expected was Stamets to do something and it, to fail, but an attempt, right? But it was actually Colbert. And the reason why it was a surprise that it was Colbert was because, Colbert was a psychologist or psychiatrist. And so I would have assumed that his rational mind would have taken over. But I guess what he needed was, when Stamets said, "Why are you so upset with me?" And he was like, "You know what?"
Well, yeah, that was the thing. So the personification of their characters sort of flipped a bit because Stamets is the asshole, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just when you started season 1 and you look at Stamets, he's easily not a likable guy until you later get to know him. You're like, he's kind of an asshole, but I actually do like his character. He was extremely vulnerable in this episode, right? Not the Stamets that he was he spent the whole episode reaching, just trying to reach towards Colbert and Colbert like, yeah, every time he reached the hand, yeah. But Colbert wasn't himself, which is apparent. Which they blatantly told you that Colbert is not himself. That's part of what the conflict of Colbert is. He's like, okay, I'm reborn, but and I can't explain what it is to him. He can't explain what it is to him. He just knows he's not himself. But yeah, man, I thought I liked that they did it that way because it actually made you feel really bad for Stamets, even if you didn't like him and you thought he was an asshole, which he is kind of. I mean, it's not like we have assigned seats, that sort of thing.
But you know what? Like in a group, there's always at least one, right? In any group, there's always at least one. And I think prior television shows of Star Trek, you never really had a whole lot of that. Like in general, everybody liked every character, right? But I think it was it wasn't until DS9 that there started to be certain characters that you liked, but you didn't. It was kind of like that you love to hate.
Well, that was by design because Gene Roddenberry, first of all, Gene Roddenberry did not want conflict between characters on the ship. He didn't there would be at that time. He had this idea of how we would evolve, our morality would evolve by that time. And Gene Roddenberry did not want conflict between characters on the ship. You wouldn't want a fight between Geordi and Data to last for 5 or 6 episodes, or you know what I mean. So any conflicts were small and they were quickly resolved. I mean, conflicts between characters were between the captain and Broccoli, maybe. Wasn't even a real conflict.
Broccoli?
Broccoli.
Barkley? No, it's funny because that was his nickname.
That was his nickname. And the big thing was when Picard said Broccoli and he realized that he said it. That was that was great acting by Patrick Stewart, actually, when he realized he said it. So, but after, midway through, I think TNG, Roddenberry got sick and he was sort of more hands off. So you did find a shift between TNG and DS9. First of all, It wasn't like it stopped being. It was singular episodic, but they did start going for the long haul of the episode with the Dominion War. They started going for that. It would have been nice if they carried that on with Voyager, but they didn't. But
I will say, maybe I'm going to say something that, especially those, because there are a lot of people who love Gene Roddenberry's view of things. I love what he created, but I love what Star Trek has matured into. I actually love the fact that it got away from those singular episodes and went for the serial form type of. Not to say that there aren't some times where I'm just kind of like, all right, I need something different because I do need something different.
Every once in a while, you do, like the episode where with Harry Mudd was kind of like a singular episode.
Yeah,
it had some small things where they carried the arc over of the story, but in general, that was a singular episode of just
it introduced more than anything. It introduced the character of Ash Tyler, and I think that's what was needed.
Yes. So it carries some story over, but I mean that's all television is going that way because the single fact is back in the day you didn't have streaming, so they were very worried about we can't have this long arc because if they miss last week's episode, they won't know what next week's episode is about. So they're very scared to do that. Nowadays, you get away with that because you missed last week's episode, you just watch last week's episode and then watch the next one. So
right. Either you're watching it on Hulu or you're watching it on, I don't know. Down here we have Xfinity, and so like if you miss it, like I'll just
Down here, what are you in Australia?
No, well, in Chicago, like I don't know what you all have.
I mean, we have Netflix and Hulu, and we get the same stuff.
No, but in terms of like cable providers, we have Xfinity down here.
I have. Everybody has Xfinity except for me. I got RCN.
RCN, what is that?
It's like a less popular one where it's like I only have I haven't had cable for like 15 years.
Okay.
I haven't had a phone line for like 20 years, right?
That's a lot of money saved, so I'm kind of jealous.
So I haven't, I spent it all on drugs.
You so silly.
Nah, but so I was like way ahead. I was like way ahead of that because I was like the first one to have a TiVo.
Okay.
Recording episode. Actually, when Voyager was on, I would get home and watch Voyager because I was on my TiVo. I recorded it every freaking day when I got home from work. I watched it. So I mean, RCN is just a cheaper one, and it's just like I just have internet. That's it.
Okay. All right, got it.
And I got my own modem. Stop renting modems from cable companies. Go buy a modem for $120.
I know it.
Save yourself some money.
I know it. All right, so let's get into Section 31. So early on into the episode, what we see is basically, as it relates to Section 31, we see Georgiou and Leland in a meeting with 4 admirals. And this is the point that I do remember you and I talking about in an earlier episode, where we were talking about those 4 admirals, and the fact that, well, at least for me, what I noticed was you had 4 of the original planets that joined the Federation, and I thought that was striking because you had 4 admirals, and Section 31 is all about espionage, all about spying, right? And so it kind of signaled to me, I wonder if those 4 planets really felt threatened by other planets at the signing of the Federation Charter.
I think they always felt threatened by other planets. I mean, that's why that's why Norway wants to sign NATO right now, because they feel threatened by other entities. I think that's the whole point of Starfleet. But for Section 31, I think season 2 of Discovery marks a time of Section 31 where they are at the pinnacle of their power and reach within Starfleet. You won't see it in any other era of Starfleet. where they have this much power and reach because they are upfront, they are open, they are an obvious tool of Starfleet. If you look at DS9, it's not an obvious tool of Starfleet. If you look at Enterprise, it's not an obvious tool of Starfleet. You have to go through the red tape to figure out, oh, they are Starfleet somewhere.
Right, and but I'm sorry.
But season 2 of Discovery, they are up front and center. Everybody knows about them. You can find people standing in the hallways with Section 31 badges. Okay, so this is when Section 31 is at their strongest in Starfleet, and they expect people to answer to them.
Right, and what was amazing? Well, not amazing. What makes me like it just kind of makes me wonder is like, okay, so clearly this is not the direction that Gene Roddenberry wanted to go in, right? But it was a
I don't think Gene Roddenberry had Section 31 in mind.
No. Like I don't think so either. Like at all, because we didn't see it in TOS, we didn't see it in TNG, right? It wasn't until DS9, and then basically that was like towards the end of DS9, and that was like it was season 5, and they were like, "Hey, just don't mess up, what is, because we have some movies coming up. You can add, just don't mess up, right?" And so they added Section 31, and people like went crazy over Section 31, and so. To me, it's just like, okay, so now you're inserting Section 31 into this time frame. And so I've always wondered, how are they going to wrap that bow? Kind of like, now, because, well, and they kind of did. So I'm speaking and I know my answer. But I still think that we're going to see a little bit of it in definitely Strange New Worlds, and of course, when the show Section 31 comes out, we're going to understand how and why Section 31 is not a big presence in the episodes, in the television shows that we've come to love.
Well, I mean, I think I've expressed this before. My vision of Section 31. I think that the end of season 2 Discovery marked the fall of Section 31, right? So I think that was the beginning of the fall when they gave them so much power, so much happened, and then that power got twisted and turned, and control got twisted and turned, that they cut it out of there. It wasn't until DS9 24, I don't know, 62, whatever, I don't know the date. But once on DS9, where so much was going on with the Dominion Wars that it was allowed to resurface. It never died out. It just sort of like fizzled. It's like, I'm sure there's Black Panthers going around somewhere. We all know the KKK is still around here somewhere, even though I shouldn't have said that, because you cannot compare the KKK with the Black Panthers at all. Not one little bit, so I shouldn't have did that. But the point is that these organizations are big, and then they fizzle out, and then they don't fizzle out all the way. There's always somebody holding the flag somewhere. Mm-hmm. Until it needs to be, somebody needs to carry it.
Agreed. And I think what and I do remember us having a similar conversation. What I want to see is in this new show, I want to see them like really be covert about the things that they do. And so as a result, like it's not going to be heavy on action. It's really going to be about like in the shadows, right? And I want to see what that looks like in the Federation. Like, what exactly does that look like in the Federation? Because we've not really seen. I've never seen that. At least I don't recall seeing that. Like them,
like a cloak and dagger, Starfleet cloak and dagger.
Making things happen in the background. You kind of sort of saw that this one episode where Jarjo basically assassinates a Klingon, a member of Klingon High Council. And, it serves the Federation, but, there were no witnesses. And so to an extent, yes, that's happening. Or we've seen it happen, but like more like I want to see it happen politically, like some political moves that are happening. I want to see that. I want to see that as well.
What if you had to compare it to like any other show?
What do you mean, Section 31?
Yeah, or what you were wanting to look like.
Kinda. Let me think about that. I didn't think about it. What was the name of that television show? It was where the
I Dream
president
of
was.
Genie.
What happened?
I Dream of Genie.
No, not it was a show where the president, I think it's called American President, where the president was giving his State of the Union, and there's one cabinet member who doesn't attend just in case something happens. Well, boom, something happened, and so now he's the president of the United States, and they're trying to figure out the plot as to why all of that happened. And so you're seeing people do things in the background, but the public doesn't know and doesn't see it.
Right. I don't know what show that is. First, I was thinking 24, but I'm like, no, that's not 24.
It's same guy, same lead,
Oh,
same lead.
So it just came out. I know. I think I know what you're talking about. Then I just can't think of the name of the show.
Okay, well, yeah, same guy.
Kiefer Sutherland.
There you go. And just to be honest with you, yeah, it's very similar to 24.
Okay.
Very similar. At least whatever. That's what I think.
But then as far as Section 31, like at the end of that episode, they are really intent on getting Spock, like more than they were before. Like, before they were technically getting him because he was a murder suspect.
Correct.
But now that they feel like he knows about the Red Angel and he has knowledge about time travel and things that's going on. Now there's a different motive, I think, for Section 31 to get him.
Yeah, and I firmly believe that Section 31 is going to be a whole lot about time travel. That's what I believe. I think they're the impetus for this time war that we've heard about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah, they never really got into the temporal wars.
And I think
about it.
I think they're going to explore it
here and there.
I think they're going to explore it in Section 31. That's what I believe.
That's a hard thing to write. That's so hard to write. I mean, even Doctor Who is hard to write, right?
But I mean, I'm here for it. If they could do it successfully, I think that would be awesome. So I don't know. Anything else about Section 31? Anything else that we've not talked about? Because I feel like we talked about these things in previous episodes.
Yeah, we have. I mean, in this episode, there wasn't a lot of sex. There was basically mostly the beginning, and then at the end, in the middle was Talos 4 business going on. Mm-hmm. But you got to handle your Talos 4 business, or you're not gonna have a good life.
Yeah.
So, I always wondered why they couldn't put it back together right. Like they said, well, they didn't know. They didn't. It's like what? So they thought that looked good to them. It's like that's not how they walk. It didn't make sense. They didn't know. They didn't have a template for humans. Okay, so
or they couldn't read her mind to find out what was normal. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They could have read her mind and found out all sorts of things. Exactly. So that was kind of like, but whatever. But I like the Telosians that they had in the episode. I always wondered where the rest of the Telosians are. I know it was like a nuclear war, and most of them were dead.
Yeah.
And whatever. But it's always weird when it's like, oh, there's four entities on the planet doing everything.
Yeah, my wonder there was, I wonder if they had those abilities prior to or after the whatever happened.
Well, they had to be at least latent. I think probably they probably had a couple people with that. It doesn't just like pop out of nowhere like strong. Nothing does as far as evolution is concerned.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, but I mean that would be a good question, to figure out.
Yeah. All right, man. I think we have run our course. I think the next episode that we're gonna do is Project Daedalus. Is that correct?
Project Daedalus. Somebody dies.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So until next time, everybody, we're gonna let you all see these end credits. Hopefully to make some people happy. All the other good stuff. Until next time, live long and prosper.
Peace.
Now, again, I'm going to say this again because we're near the end of our show. If you are our allies, we are not talking to you. We are not talking to you. This does not... Okay? We're not talking to you. Stop trying to take our and make it your business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It ain't got nothing to do with you.
Our experience of grief independently.
Bruh.
Yes.
I love that they're in the comments.
So much is like I'm just reading the comments.
Yeah. They should run their child out. That's such a good point, Will. God, that's such a good point. And he's really thought about it too. You should be here. Will, get over here.
I thought he had a girlfriend on Insta. It's been ages since I've mucked about, but.
Okay, moving on. Let's move on.
Yeah, we gotta move on.